So the next program that we write is the same thing, almost the same thing, but comparing the smallest, finding the smallest number amongst 4 different numbers which will be inputted by the user. In the last case we inputted 3, user inputted 3 numbers. Here the user will be inputting 4 numbers. The program will have to find out the minimum of those 4 numbers. As you can see, I have done this basic part, hash include std, conio, clear screen, getch, all those things are written. So let me write the program statement over here. Write a program to find the minimum of 4 inputted numbers from the user. So you can understand that I will have to want 4 numbers from the user and find the minimum of them. Let me comment out this program statement because it is not a part of the program. Now this program, how to write it. So I can tell you, basically you are going to input 4 numbers A, B, C, D. I am just explaining, not writing the code now. A, B, C, D, 4 numbers to be inputted from the user. So the 4 numbers I am taking A, B, C and D. Now how to write this program? In the previous case there were 3, so I compared A with B and then I compared A with C. So it was done like this. For 4, the better way, cannot it be like this, that I separate out these 2. I take A and B and separately take C and D. So firstly I try to find the minimum between A and B. Once that is done, I also find out, parallelly I find out the minimum between C and D. So these 2 do not have any connection. I firstly find the minimum of A and B and then I find the minimum of C and D. So if then the minimum of this one, this 2 and the minimum of these 2 I obtain, then don't you understand that minimum of those 2 minimums will definitely be the minimum of these 4. Say for example, out of A and B, I find out a minimum and that is minimum 1. Out of these 2 numbers A and B, let me take these 2 numbers firstly, A and B, out of these 2 numbers I compare the minimum 1, minimum is minimum 1. And out of this C and D, the minimum of this I take and I put it in a variable called minimum 2. So the idea is that out of C and D, one of them is minimum. So I keep them in minimum 2 out of C and D. Now then if I compare minimum 1 with minimum 2, I definitely understand that is definitely the minimum of all these 4. Say for example, out of A and B, you take by example now, A has been inputted as 45, B has been inputted as 73. So what is the minimum of A and B? Minimum of A and B is 45. So I compare A, so I put A to minimum 1, copy A to minimum 1 becomes equal to 45. I think you understand this. So out of A and B, the minimum is A, so min 1 is containing that A, 45. Out of C and D, now say suppose C is containing 68 and D is containing 104. Now what is the minimum out of 68 and 104? Definitely it is 68, so minimum 2 should contain this 68, that is the value of C. Now if I now check the minimum of minimum 1 and minimum 2, if I now compare between minimum 1 and minimum 2, then the minimum out of them is 45, that is the value of A, so min is going to contain 45. So check out now togetherly 45, 73, 68, 104. Definitely 45 was the minimum that has been copied to min. I think you understand this. Is not it so? So using this logic, let me keep this thing as it is and let me try to run the code now. Let me try to write the program now. Keep this intact. I am keeping this intact so that it is easy for me to write the program. Then I will delete this. So firstly, I will take int A, B, C and D. So for the purpose of it, I also take, for the purpose of writing this code, min 1, min 2 and min, the final minimum. So how to write the program? Firstly, I will have to tell the user printf enter 4 numbers colon slash n and this one. So I will have to scan those 4 numbers, scanf, %d, %d, %d and %d. And where will I put those 4? I will put it in A, I will put it in B, I will put it in C, and definitely I will put it in D. So I scan the 4 numbers A, B, C, D. In the variables A, B, C, D, I scan it. Now I will have to find the minimum of these A and B. Out of A and B, who is the minimum? How to do that? If A less than B, then you can easily say the minimum one is equal to A. Otherwise, who is the minimum? Else minimum 1 must be equal to B. So check out what? I am checking who is lesser amongst A and B. If A is lesser than B, A is smaller between A and B, so minimum 1 contains that value of A. Otherwise, if A is greater than or equal to B, I am just putting it in minimum 1 equal to B. If it is equal, any one of them can be taken as minimum 1, so it hardly matters which I have taken. So I have thus calculated the value of minimum 1. So this value of minimum 1, I have got it exactly like this. See, I have compared this A with B, and whoever is lesser amongst A or B, I have compared it within, I have put it in within minimum 1. So minimum 1 is equal to A if A is less than B, otherwise minimum 1 is equal to B. So out of this I have got this minimum 1 out of A and B. Now similarly, you understand I should be comparing the right part also, that is the minimum of C and D. So if C less than D, in the same way, if C less than D, then minimum 2 is equal to C, else I can easily say else minimum 2 is equal to D. So you check out again what I have done. I have compared between this C and D. So out of this C and D, whoever is smaller, I have hold it in minimum 2. So if C is less than D, minimum 2 is equal to C, otherwise minimum 2 is equal to D. Now out of this, now I know that min 1 and min 2 contains the minimum of A and B and minimum of C and D respectively. Now I must compare between min 1 and min 2 and get the final minimum. So what should I do? Same way, if min 1 is less than min 2, you check out what I am doing. I am basically doing this step. I am comparing minimum 1 with minimum 2. So out of this minimum 1 and minimum 2, whoever is smaller, I will hold it in min variable. So if min 1 is less than min 2, then who is the minimum? Minimum 1. I am holding min 1 into min. I am just copying min 1 to min. Otherwise, else I will just copy min 2 to min, whoever is the smaller. So if in this case min 1 was the smaller, I am copying min 1 to the final minimum. If min 2 is smaller, otherwise that is I am copying min 2 to minimum. So now I know that min contains my final minimum. So definitely I can write easily now printf the minimum of these 4 numbers is %d. Who is the minimum of these 4 numbers? Where is it present? In min. So min is going to replace the %d, and I close the bracket. I can run the program once I delete this explanatory part. I don't need this explanatory part, or else you can do one thing, you can comment out these lines just for the sake of understanding. It remains as it is. In future, if you want to check, if you want to understand how you had written this code, then you can easily understand it from the comments. So that's why comments are also used in a program. Let me run this program now. Alt R, enter, no errors, enter 4 numbers, 34, 23, 79 and 25. Sorry, 25. Who is the smallest? 23. Check out. The minimum of these 4 numbers is 23. Definitely it is going to work. You check out with other examples also. 34, 68, 12, 79. Who is the minimum? 12. Run again, Alt R, enter. 32, 99, 103 and 4. The minimum of these 4 numbers is 4. And finally, finally 12, 14, 16, 18, just for checking. The minimum of these 4 numbers is 12. This program will run for all the cases. So I think you understand this program. So we will go to the next program.